We're a divided nation, one where people see these great fissures across our public and wonder whether or not we can even still be friends with people who don't see the world the way that we do. We see violence and hostile political rhetoric, and if you're anything like me, you wonder whether or not we can come back, or if we even want to. And if we do, how on earth we even begin to start to heal those divides.
Do you think that, can you see a scenario where the United States can come back together? Or are we do you fear ever that we're too far gone and that these sort of like warring groups that we're in right now, maybe we can't get back?
I want to believe that we can come back together. I think that just comes with my faith and believing that there are universal things that unite us all, that are important to all of us, no matter what political side you are on. So I believe that there is a way to come back, and it has to do with identity and a collective reason to be. I guess it comes down to like a collective identity. Like if we can find things that unite us, then we can come back to some level of good reality. At the same time, though, I am realistic.
I don't know. It's important not to get discouraged because we're in a mess right now. We have been for a while, and I think it's important not to focus on like, we're we're not doing great right now. We'll do great again. I don't think this is the declining slide of our country. It's exhausting, striving for greatness, but it's also worth it. It's, we're all going to die. Does that mean we shouldn't try to live now? I that doesn't make sense to me, right? I think the aspiration is the important part. It's the striving, it's the struggle, it's the work to try and achieve, right? I don't think that because you realize we're not in as good a place as we once were, you realize that, it is inevitable. It's inevitable that, our country will fall. Eventually it will. But I don't think that we should give up on it, now. I think there's potential for greatness, and there still is. And I think abandoning that is short-sighted.
We're going to break everything. Everything is going to be broken down to rebuild and to hopefully rebuild better. I think that the inequality in income and that huge divide, I think we're going to have like an eat the rich revolution. I think we're going to have something that, isn't going to be like throw them in the, pull out the guillotine kind of thing, but it is something to me that is akin to like the French Revolution, where the ruling class are just, people are going to have enough. When is that going to happen? When some of the policies or executive orders that Trump has done, the tariffs could be it, where it is really impacting people in a way that's so horrible. It's not about the Democrats did this, or the black person did this, or, the person that's here from Mexico did this. It is going to become a real reality. I think it's going to get ugly before it's going to get good. Not good, but like to rebuild, like to bring us together and to do something. But I think it has to be something that catastrophic, that big.
I'm not one of those guys who's all doom and gloom and thinks that, the American empire is over and we're just, screwed. There's no coming back from it. But I really think that people are seeing the extremes now that can happen in this country and how just absolutely just not only terrifying it is, but detrimental it is to not just like our economy, but our psyche as a whole and our whole national identity. I'm seeing things like, with my younger coworkers, with my son's friends and stuff like that, to where they are really shedding a lot of these labels. Even like when I was in high school and stuff, in middle school, like we were brutal to each other. We were always making fun of each other and stuff and this and that. And I'm not seeing that from like kids my son's age. They're a lot more empathetic now. And that's why I think like we're moving out of this, because they're going to be like the next voting bloc here in another 10 years, 20 years. Right. So like our generation, we grew up seeing like the dot-com crash, 2008 crash, COVID, stuff like that. Like we are just battered and beaten and just like exhausted. And we can't do anything right now because of the current power structures. But when those power structures fade away, I think the next generation really is what's going to start putting the pieces back together. Like I do have hope. I believe we're going to get there.
I feel hopeful. I remain optimistic, maybe naively. Yeah, I haven't given up. I think I feel the worse it gets, the more people are going to try to correct it themselves, I guess.
Okay.
I think people are starting to take a more earnest interest in their smaller communities and trying to help each other out on a smaller basis, a more local basis. And I think the longer this goes on, I think hopefully we'll see more of that. So I remain optimistic currently.
And I don't have a great answer for it. I don't want to believe that we're too far gone. And I think all things must pass, right? Like, I think people say it sometimes when they say it, I get a little, I kind of feel like you're not taking it seriously enough. But then also, I think with a little perspective can help. Like, this is not the first time in American history we've had polarization at an extreme level, right? I mean,
we fought a war once.
We had a civil war. Yeah. Even like reading up to like what came before that war, like there was extreme sectional polarization. I mean, there were actual active terrorist groups in the United States in like the 1880s and 1890s. You know, I mean, like things have been bad. Like this is not necessarily new. I think the stakes are a little higher this time. We have nuclear weapons. We have a climate crisis. You know, we have hot wars going on around the world that we are involved or proxy involved with. So I think the stakes are pretty high. But like I say, all things must pass. And I think that there is a very real possibility 30 years from now, we look back and we're like, man, we were freaking crazy back in the 2010s and 2020s, right? Could you believe we were letting social media just freaking rot our brains? And that no one believed vaccines worked or that you could use your pronouns without being sexist. You know, I could totally see that happening because, I mean, what pulls countries together at times? National crises. We don't know what's going to come in the future. Like, what's going to happen that might bring this country back together again? Will there be a way for things to cool down? Like when the current crop of politicians move on? Will Americans just get sick of this at some point and say, we don't want to be mad all the time? You know, will the economy improve to such a point? Will there be some type of, I don't want to say wealth redistribution because I don't want to sound like, you know, Karl Marx over here either. Will there be a future where, you know, where we do have a little bit more of a equal share for folks? I think a lot of things like that can change things relatively quickly. And maybe this moment will pass and we'll look back on it and say, I can't believe we were ever as angry as we were.
And like I said, you can look at it in like a multitude of different ways, right? So if you're like a religious person, if you are a non-religious person, you know, and that's a whole other divide. We can talk about that later. But, you know, there are ways that people cope and deal with this, right? So if you're a religious person, you obviously turn to your faith, you turn to God, and you're like, God, please help us be better. Like, why are you? And you look at it as like a just like the plight of man. And that's what all religions discuss, the plight of man, that we're going to kill each other, that we're going to do all this horrible stuff to each other. And then God's going to come and take us all out. And it's going to be judgment day. And whether you're a Jew, a Christian, or a Muslim, I gave you the ending, right, of mankind right now. Like, what is man good at, David? Like, if you look at through what defines our history, dude, war, straight up war. That's it. That is it. Think of everything you've learned, like as a child, as a young adult, literally every defining moment in human history is a war. I don't know. Like I just, we're not, mankind like sucks, David. We suck.
So I wish I had an answer. I think the only answer is to put the phone down and to not engage and just get used to not doing that. But I also realize that it is extremely difficult, and I have a hard time doing that myself. So, but it goes back to that sense that it's just a problem that can't be fixed, and I don't know how to fix it. And that makes me feel helpless, just like a lot of other people, I think.
I don't think it's like a short-term thing. I'm with you, right? Like, I need to win this argument, or I need to win whatever short term. So short term, it doesn't work. It needs to be like a slow build, right? It needs to be like I'm going to roll this out over time. You need to earn your stripes. You need to do this in real time. And that momentum needs to build. Frankly, I think that's exactly what Mayor Pete's trying to do right now. He has lots of Instagram posts, lots of podcasts. He's doing appearances on Fox, but he's being incredibly logic-based. And do I think the public wants this? Yes. I think the public is craving this, right? I want it to be boring. I want it to be objective. I want it to be straightforward. I want you to strip away all the spin. I want you to be able to tell me what this actually means for me and my family and the people that I care about. I don't care about your opinion. I don't care about your analysis. Like, I want it straight down the middle. I want to be able to trust what you're telling me. Nobody can trust anything right now.
Anymore, get outside. Seriously, turn off your phone. Start liking positive things equaling to the negative things. I know these are small. There are a couple small things that anybody could do to drastically change their situations. Get with your neighbors. You know what I mean? Don't force yourself around them. Get outside, wave, walk your dog, wave to your neighbors, talk to your neighbors, invite them over for a Christmas cookie cutting thing.
Just try and have a little more empathy for each other. Let's just try and see where everybody's coming from. We're all just people, and we're all just trying to figure this out together. So maybe a little more patience, a little more understanding. But yeah, I think if we could all just ease up on each other a little bit, and maybe hear each other out a little bit more, that'd probably get us a lot further than we'd expect.
Be kind. You have the option of being kind to people. Why not take it? It doesn't cost anything, right? And it might make a difference. It might actually make a difference to somebody else. And I genuinely think that the way that you behave and the way that you interact with the world gets returned upon you, right? I don't believe in any karmic magic or anything like that, but I think that the face that you show to the world gets reflected, right? And yeah, just be kind and recognize that you don't know everything that person has ever been through, right? And your differences are the result of different experiences. You would be different if you had different experiences. Who knows? You might be just like that person that you disagree with. And at the end of the day, they're a human being and they deserve respect, right? The Marine Corps, there's this, they always talk about, respect, or get respect when it's earned. And it's like, no, that's not the right way to be. Respect should be given until it's proven it isn't deserved.
Travel. Too many people don't travel. We have a really big country. We have a big country that, rightfully could be like 10 different countries. If you travel, you're going to meet people from so many different backgrounds than you, and it's going to go a long way to understanding them and humanizing them and seeing that they're not just some other that you need to be afraid of, but they're actual people who want the same things as you do. They want to be heard. They want to be understood. They want to feel safe. They want to have a safe future for their children. They want to do simple things like maybe make enough money to have a Netflix subscription, right? So I think traveling and getting out of your bubble would solve a lot of problems in this country.
I would say just be open to conversations, be open to talking to people that are have different views from you. If you get that opportunity, be open to being wrong. I think being wrong is okay. And I think it's okay to change your mind when you have new information and I think that ties back to the whole tribal aspect when we were talking about, and how people get kind of like stuck in their whole world and their echo chamber, perhaps. But yeah, it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to, just talk to people. That's what I would say.
So like, let's take something like that was very controversial here, like where we live in the country, the issue of gay marriage, right? Religiously, like I'm not like, okay, I'm a practicing Muslim, right? Islam tells you like, this is wrong. I am not talking about my religion right now. We live in a civil society. Again, I'm going to get so ostracized after this episode. Thanks a lot, David. I'm at an age where I'm just like, these are my beliefs. You love me, leave me. I don't care. Yeah. Right. But like we technically live in a civil society. We shouldn't be governed by religion. Why do you want the same rights as me as a freaking civilian? End of the story. That's how your vote should go. Because what you do with your life and your business, that's your business, it's not mine.
I have a question about, I'm really interested in what you just said there. You have this, so you've just said, you have this ability to say, I have my religious beliefs, but in some way, like you are suppressing those beliefs in a way of saying, but I know that I can't make everyone have my belief set. Yeah. And that there's some other order in a way that I kind of have to subordinate my religious beliefs to like a civil society belief set such that
we live in a civil society. We don't live in a religious society right now.
So, so that's why. So I'm fascinated by that. Why do you suppose you can do that and others can't? Because that's a rare thing. I think that is a rare thing that someone can say what you just said. What gives you that capacity to do that? Because I think others struggle with it.
Common sense. The fact that I care about other people as human beings. Really, it goes back to what I was saying. It's the fact that I care about people as human beings. I don't need to hurt you to exist.
So in the Bible, it says, be slow to anger, right? I think people are very quick to be angry, and emotions really get in the way of your executive functioning skills. Like if you're stuck in this, if you're stuck in that part of the brain that is really kind of primal, visceral, like just reactive, then you can't really do some of those other higher level thinking skills, like listening, active listening, reasoning, right? All of those things are really important. But if you can't get past I don't want to call it fight or flight, but it's kind of like that. Like sometimes it'll like push, certain things will just immediately push people into this defensive, like, what do I do? Like, how do I react to this thing? Like someone saying something that I've been taught not to like. So I need to immediately shut down and only come up with things that are, opposing to what they're saying. So I think emotion just blocks them from even accessing that part of their brain that can do some of those complicated tasks that are necessary to meet each other in the middle.
I mean, I think, there's all the basic things like, truly listen to the other side, truly try to put yourself in their shoes. I think we're past that point, though. I just think we're past that point. Maybe it is more, what is the common ground that we can all share an understanding of? Because a lot of it is just insane, right? I hate to sound so pessimistic, but I think we are past that point until we actually can figure out this sort of big thing. I saw an interview with a couple whose child died from measles and they refused to get a vaccination. And even after their child died, they're like, no, our pastor told us not to do it, not to get a vaccination. So no, we wouldn't have gotten the vaccination, if we could bring our child. I mean, it is that kind of insanity. I don't know how you bridge that, David. I really don't know how you bridge that. I mean, I mean, it's a horrible thing, but it's not going to be sitting around in diplomacy between the two groups.
So most of our guests have a sense that we are not too far gone, and that there's at least some reason for hope, even if things are very difficult right now. But it leaves me wondering, is Ben right, that this too shall pass? Or is Anne right, that really there's no way for this to get better absent some kind of a massive crisis, because we're certainly not going to talk to each other? Fact is, I don't know. I don't suppose you do either. But I do wonder, perhaps Hanan has something to teach us here, that there's some way of suppressing the things that we ourselves find most cherished and sort of subordinating that to some higher order ideal, some higher order civil society. I was fascinated by that, and I have a sense that that's a new question I'm going to have to ask a lot of future guests. All right, this has been Nobody's Side. We'll see you next time.